to Lead Generation Strategies for B2B Tech Companies, a podcast by Bright Vision.
Hello and welcome to the B2B Lead Gen podcast for tech companies. My name is Jacob Löwenbrand. I'm Managing Director of Bright Vision and hosting this podcast, which is probably my best work duty as the CEO. And today we're going to talk about the B2B buying journey and how it's and a lot of things around that, especially how a six-figure buyer would buy in 2023 and beyond. And we have an expert in this area with us, as always, but very interesting to talk to Omprakash Karuppanan, who is the founder and CEO of Fuego Systems. And with that very short introduction, welcome to our podcast today. We're so happy to have you.
Same, yeah. I'm so glad you invited me, Jacob. Thank you. My name is Omprakash Karuppanan. So basically, I run a marketing agency, a B2B marketing agency, Fuego Systems. We handle account-based marketing strategy and consulting for enterprise SaaS companies and IT service companies across the American market.
Okay, and you're based in Bangalore.
That's correct. Yeah. I quite travel on and off to the US and back and forth.
Okay, yeah, exciting. But that's a famous city, at least here in Sweden, for all the a tech hub with all the tech companies.
Bangalore?
Yep.
Yes, that's where I live.
Yeah, interesting. So thanks for staying up late, since it's quite a few hours between Sweden and Bangalore. But anyway, so let's dive into it. And the reason why we wanted to have you on the podcast is that you have put out quite a few interesting articles around the funnel, and you have some ideas around, the funnel where we drive buyers to making buyer decision and so forth. And yeah, can you give us a little bit of take why you think it's so important that we rethink a little bit how we do and think about the funnel from a B2B buyer perspective?
Yeah, exactly. This is because when we started handling clients in the B2B IT service industry, we slowly started realizing the buyer journey is not the same. It used to be a decade back or even 5 years back, because when we started marketing, we used to send cold emails. My first sales call was just a cold call. I just made a call and then I was able to close a meeting. That was way back in 2005. I lived in Chicago and then made a call to LA. I was able to do it, right from there, and I had to travel all the way from Chicago to LA to make a sale. But all of that buyer journey doesn't exist anymore, right? So the B2B buyer journey is completely changed. The buyer is quite aware of all the problems, quite aware of your product. They're aware of most of what you want to tell them about your product. No one wants to hear about, hey, I'm selling this product, over here. It can do so many wonders. It can do this one. Or a lot of companies, would say, especially I live in India, so a lot of IT companies in India would say, hey, I'm providing resources for you. It starts from $20 an hour. We are the best resources in the world. But nobody wants to hear all that, right? And so the buyer is already, researching online. And when they say researching online, they want to get all the information, before they even pick up the phone and want to make a decision to buy. They're going to evaluate you, and especially the buyer journey evaluation that takes, that is not linear. When I say linear, it doesn't fall into, like, say, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. You have a certain sequence of email, a 6-step email, and say, okay, fine, I send the 6-step email and I get the conversions. Imagine an enterprise buyer these days. You just make a call or send a cold email and nobody's going to cut a 6-figure check and give them to you, just because you made a cold call and email, you sounded so nice, and they will not do it because they're going to give the check only to people whom they can trust, people whom they've heard from their peers, their coworkers, or they've been following your content for a long time. They can trust you. The trust has been built. So the buyer journey is completely changed right now. It's not linear anymore. That's what I meant. So we have to be in places where the B2B buyer is making decisions, and places where this B2B buyer making decisions normally cannot be tracked. So normally they make decisions on groups, on social media, on along discussions with their coworkers, on hearing some podcasts. So it's kind of you have to be in places, but at the same time you may not be able to track the places, and you will get to know where they hang out only by doing a very detailed customer research with your existing customers. That's how the B2B buyer dynamics is completely changed. It's no more just send 3 emails, 5 emails, and then you book a meeting and then close the sale.
Yeah, that's true. So interesting. So the B2B buyer journey or the funnel is not linear. It more it could be more ad hoc and harder to predict, as I understand you. And you also talk a little bit about the dark funnel. Can you explain a little bit what you mean with the dark funnel?
Yeah, it's actually dark social. Dark funnel is more to do with the data, but dark social meaning people who are active on social media, which you cannot track. Say, for example, I'm doing this episode with you, and tomorrow I go tell my coworkers, hey, I had this wonderful host, Jacob, and we had this episode podcast, and they're going to go search Google online and find out and see who's Jacob, and then go see. But you're not going to be able to track, how they came to your website. So that's dark social. Word of mouth. It starts from word of mouth to saving a podcast episode to posting content on LinkedIn, or it could be participating in online events, summits, webinars, all of this together, where you may not be, the software cannot attribute it directly initially, but the clients or the buyers would start evaluating you from there. So last week I had a customer who came to me, directly messaged me on LinkedIn and said, hey, we think, we want to get started with account-based marketing. Can you help us out? Then it just took 2 calls and I was able to close. And I asked him, why did you choose to buy from us? I do not even know you. But he said he's been following my content for almost 6 months, and I didn't know that. So you've been following and doing the research by himself. So he's able to build that trust just by all my LinkedIn posts. So they keep evaluating you, by where you are, and kind of posts you do, like a kind of content you do, on what channels you are, and they are evaluating you on the backside, behind the screen. They keep evaluating you and don't know that. So we have to be ready for that. So
okay, that's great. Perfect. And so interesting. And as a marketeer, as a B2B marketeer in tech and software and SaaS, what do you think are the most important implications of this more ad hoc, hard to calculate funnel as you experienced it? How should I think as a practicing B2B marketeer that needs to sell and hit my numbers, and drive the leads and all that things?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jacob. Actually, to be honest, the dark social is very, very tough to attribute. You can try to get as close as possible to attribute the dark social. You can just try and see from your CRM the first traceable touch. That's the best you can do. There's 2 or 3 different ways you can try and collect the attribution. One, you can do it from the software, whatever it gives, the first traceable touch, that you can get. Next is, you have any form fills, you can ask where they come from, or manually, once they talk to you, you can ask them, how did you first hear about us? The first time, how did you know about us? And then they can mention, and you kind of take a blended approach in taking these three into consideration and then forming the attribution. But I would focus rather than trying to get too much into this attribution and tracking and looking at the ROI. I would focus more on getting into one of these strategies first. Say you want to start a podcast, start doing the podcast first. See how your win rates are increasing, how your pipeline is building. Then repurpose the content. Then you go on another channel. So you want to do a webinar, co-host a webinar, do that. Then you see how it comes up. So start a pilot, for 3 months. See, and you will definitely see, your pipeline velocity to increase, meaning good quality leads coming to your pipeline, and you will also get to see the win rates increasing, which will be quite surprising for us. The win rates increased. Some of my clients, I could see, just from 15%, it could increase up to 40%. The win rate. Why? Because they started, becoming so active on social media. All they did was just do some webinars and post, daily on LinkedIn. Those are the basic activities someone can do. On top of it, if you have the budgets, you can do your events or online summits, all of that. And you club it with your advertising budget to promote and distribute these content assets, then you have a absolutely a full cycle of the funnel to take care of the demand gen as well as capturing the demand that you have created. So basically, I would, instead of focusing more on attribution, where it comes from, what it comes from, we'll try to attribute it to the very first traceable touch. But at the same time, we would focus more on seeing if the win rates are increasing or not, if the velocity is improving or not. Then we know, these things work, and we can take step by step, one channel at a time, and then you will get to know which is giving you better win rates.
Interesting, so interesting, and that's very true. So, how you're working a lot with ABM campaigns, and what would you say is important when you design an ABM strategy today or an ABM campaign where you want to drive? Can you give us any tactics that you have seen working really well in this climate where it's hard to say this is the middle of the funnel campaign, but rather how do we address? Do you have any examples or tips and tricks where you have seen a campaign perform really well?
Yes, absolutely. What I could offer is the first thing a lot of people miss is the account research part, the very first one. Instead of going volume based, I would just go take, even if you're able to take 50 accounts, or 100 accounts as a pilot or a test. The more research you do on those accounts, the more research you do on your existing customers to collect data, like why did they come to you? What problem did your service or your software is solving? And what are the alternatives they look for? Who all are there in the buying committee? There might be not more than one decision makers who all are there. And definitely every account has a bad person who do not want to take it up, right? So every account will have such a person who might not want to take your service. So identify those people also and see how you can establish trust with them. Tell them, we are not here to steal your job. We are here to add value to you. So try to add content like that. So identify the entire buying committee members, do the right account research first. Then instead of doing content for SEO, instead of just doing, I wouldn't just say, first you send a blog post, then you write down and send another white paper, then finally you send a case study, and then you book a meeting. That's not, you don't have to follow the traditional approach. Even you can directly send a case study, doesn't matter. The first email, you send a case study, but we should always remember people take time to make buying decisions. The minute you send a wonderful case study with stunning results, and nobody is going to say, yes, it looks good and I will buy from you right away. They need time. So you should let them have the first touch initially, then keep remarketing them. I would add some budget on remarketing ads. So that's quite affordable compared to the first touch ads. So I have a picture. The good results we've seen here is through remarketing ads. The first touch you do through a case study or a testimonial or something, bring them to your website, then slowly nurture them with some of your best content. Keep seeing the content engagement. Create a content hub. That's where the magic happens. Create a content hub. There are a lot of vendors out there who could offer content hub, which can help you directly, link you to a personalized links to send to people. You can send personalized content hubs to individual people. And as I mentioned to you in the beginning, even if you're able to select 50 good accounts, do a drill down analysis of each of the account, read their company news, read their ICP, what they're doing, what they've been posting, what is happening, what technology they're using. So bring all the data, put it in on Excel. You don't need any expensive technologies here for all these things. Write it down, put it on an Excel, write down all of the metrics, all of your findings, and put it down. And once you see that, you have so much information. Then you can draft a personalized outreach for each of them individually. Plan something. Do not pitch, never pitch so early. Try to, offer them better solutions. The objective has to be, how do we move on from one email to the other? That's all. I would only focus on that. How do I bring them to my first email to the second email? How do I keep up the interest level the same? I don't want the interest level to drop. Just keep moving them up, from one email to the second email to the third email to the fourth email. Keep running the retargeting ads parallelly, and then make sure the engagement doesn't go down. Through your content hub, you will get to see the time they've been spending on the content, what content they're consuming more, how they're interacting. Then keep a threshold value. So you can have a threshold with a combination of different things. Either they're spending so much time or they're visiting particular page, or a combination of several factors. Once they reach the threshold, invite them for a collaborative session. So I would invite them for a collaborative session. If I'm running a podcast, you can invite them for a podcast session, or you can invite your you can like one of my client. So they were partners with MuleSoft. Right? So I said, you invite MuleSoft, you invite your prospective buyers, have a roundtable discussion, right? Have a good discussion, talk about the problems, do not pitch, even here, do not pitch, talk about your problem solution, then have an interactive session that builds a lot of trust with your buyers. So then your session is over, then you have a lot of credibility with the buyers, trust with the buyers. Then we can reach out to them, slowly talk about your products, slowly talk about your offerings. Then you start pitching them. You'll at least get a response, saying, we are having this, we are having that, or this is what the problem. So all of that will still be a trusted source for them.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for laying out that. I think it's interesting to hear that you actually have had such a good response with content apps. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Can you give an example of a good content app? Because for me, that's a little bit vague. It can include a lot of things. So how should a marketeer use a content app to use it in a right way? If you can just exemplify that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I can refer to some of the technology vendors there. If you have bigger budgets, you can go with Path Factory. Path Factory comes at a bigger budget where they'll help you create, the entire personalized content discovery. It's like a landing page where you can create different, where you can basically sort all your best content there, give a landing page with all different pieces of content. And you have Total. Total is, I believe, is a European-based company. I'm not sure. I have to check that. Total is also good. They have very good user interface they can offer. And if you're looking for a more affordable options, you have Paperflight. That's a company based out of India. That's more affordable. So all these vendors, what they do is basically they will uh, make you create a customized with a custom URL landing page where you can mix and match any sort of content. If it's a Word document that drive, from a drive you want to download a document, or you want to link to your existing blog, one video, one podcast episode, you want to put all of this together into one personalized page, and you can create it for, like, say you want to send to those 50 accounts, or 100 people, you can send it to those 100 people and track what each of those 100 people are doing with that inside the content hub. Well, you'll be able to map that with your CRM, Salesforce. And once you map it with your CRM and Salesforce, you will get to see, okay, this particular person has clicked on my content. The more content he has consumed here, and there you can even have place your ads inside the content hub. I've started placing ads inside the content hub where I say, okay, here, reach out for us, book a call for a meeting, and then you can watch out if somebody's clicking that or not, if somebody's booking through that or not. You can do different experiments with that and see what is working, what is not working.
Wow, that's so interesting. And do you see that, so compared to just linking to content on the resource section on the website, is this much more efficient, and why is that?
Yes, that's because this is more personalized to a particular person. It can even, the personalization can be done right from the pages to the content, depending on what technology vendor you're using. It can even, it gives you like think of it like a Netflix, like a Netflix. Netflix is going to personalize all the content or the movies for you. The shows, what you're watching, you're going to personalize for Jacob. The personalization for Jacob is different from the personalization for Omprakash. So that's how these content hubs work. They personalize the content based on each user, and that whatever they are consuming is going to show up the next best content for them. And at the back end, we will be able to track, what they've been doing and how much time they've been spending, and which content asset is performing well and what is not performing well. We can keep changing, and it just drag and drop, and you can always get to change things, on the go. And you can give this to the salespeople. Salespeople can use this. It comes very handy for salespeople. So the salespeople can always send this. They can put this on their email signatures and say, okay, I have this, check this out. You can go check this out. People normally click that and go and see, okay, looks interesting. And they may see, you might send one piece of content, but there'll be like 4 or 5 different pieces of content, and be very interesting for them to go over and see which one they find it useful. Because in resources section, normally in resources section, you have everything. You may not be able to track, what each individually, each person is doing out of an email campaign, or you run ads and then you bring them, and you may not be able to map the data into a CRM. But here you can map these users to your CRM, and then you will get to know all data is there in the CRM. For example, Salesforce or HubSpot, you will get to see, okay, these people, the engagement level of these people are reaching the threshold or not. So that's a very good advantage using the content hubs.
Yeah, fantastic. So interesting to hear. And from a content strategy perspective and ABM and addressing the funnel, what content have you seen lately to perform best? Is it videos, or is it is the still the blog post format viable, or what's your take on creating exciting content that actually gets people to click, whether it's in a content app or on the page or just in the email? What any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I would say, what doesn't work is ebooks. No more. Ebooks doesn't work anymore. And video is always the best form of content. It still works the best. And people don't want long form content. Even in today, I was posting, people might start moving towards no-click content. Going forward in 2023, people may want a shorter versions of content. They may not want to see big, long pages and pages of content, right? So they don't want to spend that. So that's why even in our campaigns, what we try to do is, if there is a bigger white paper or a industry report, we take that out, and create a small presentation. It would just be 3 or 4 slide presentation and show it to people, which will summarize and give the entire white paper. And we see that getting a better engagement, than presenting the entire white paper to them and people don't have time to read. Even a demo video, right? So you don't want to give an entire demo video for 30 minutes, and we see people don't watch the entire 30 minutes. But if we cut, trim the video to just 1 minute and show them for 2 minutes, and then make like 7 videos like that and keep engaging them, on and off and different product videos, we see the engagement better than just sending one demo video for 30 minutes and nobody, not many people want to see that fully.
Oh, that's awesome. So video and short content. And where do you see the best conversion points? How do you convert them to a demo, or where do you actually take them off the email track and actually to the live sales track, so to say?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the last part of the funnel where I was talking to you about the threshold, right? So when you keep saying, hey, book a demo here, people never do it. But instead, we started ungating all our content assets first. So 2023 is not going to be a gated content asset anymore. So we started ungating all our content assets. So the demos also, as I mentioned to you, we trim the demos and make it into a shorter videos. See the engagement first. Then when you see, people are engaging with the demos, people are reaching out for more product videos, then we keep asking them, did you find this useful? I have something better, to talk about, some other feature, would you be interested? So then people start responding, okay, yeah, maybe this time I would be interested that time. So that this happens only towards the end, when you have the highest engagement. We don't want to do this at the top of the funnel when people, the very first time you reach out to people. So these things happen only when we know they've consumed all our content, their user score is really high. They've been engaging with all our blog posts, white papers. We've been nurturing them for over 3 months. And then we show them this piece of demo and say, hey, this is what it is. Then we started to get responses, from people. Okay, for the shorter videos, say started pitching them, or we invite them for a session. We say, here's a session we have. There's a sponsored session, or we want to invite you, for a session here. And would you like to participate? So we are also introducing lunch and learn, for ourselves, for my clients. So we are going to come up with lunch and learn from next month. So basically, we want to appreciate their time to come and talk. So we'd say the lunch is on us. Please come, share your inputs. Please share your best practices over here. And then we invite them for lunch and learn. It's a very good place to discuss, and you have some good content assets to show to people. And then we have very good trust with them. Then the salespeople come in and start interacting with them, start asking their problems, and then suggest, hey, I have this one to solve your problem. So that makes things easier than directly pitching them.
That's so interesting. Really, really cool to hear how that is working. So fantastic. And where do you see the landing page go? Is 2023 the year we rethink the landing page and its place, or do you still think we have a use for landing pages, or what's your take on landing page and forms?
See, landing pages are always going to help. There's nothing wrong in landing pages, but it depends on how effectively you want to use. We still keep repurposing our content pieces into blog posts, and we still have blog post also there. That's there. The traditional work of SEO still keeps going on. We don't want to stop it. Right. And same with the resources section. We can keep doing it. We always want to do the content, the company news. You want to always talk about the company news, the good news, the celebrations. You want to do all of that. So nothing stops. No? The landing page is the same. It's not going to stop because you want to create specific landing pages for specific line items, the webinar or a lead gen ad. So that will go on.
Yeah, so interesting. Well, I know you're a busy guy, Omprakash, so you have a lot of things, a lot of clients in the States, which keeps you up at night. So that's good for us who can hear you. But people who want to reach out to you and take part of more of your content, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can actually reach out to me on my LinkedIn profile, Omprakash Karuppanan. This Omprakash Marketing Agency. I haven't seen another Omprakash in marketing yet. So I think it should be easy to find me. They can connect with me on LinkedIn. We have a weekly, newsletter post, and named it as post. They can receive some good illustrations on buying on account-based marketing. So they can subscribe to it. They can directly reach me on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
LinkedIn is best part of easier way to reach me. I'm always active on LinkedIn.
That's great to hear. Omprakash, it was so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights about the funnel and the dark social and ABM campaigns and trigger points and content apps. I think everybody listening have learned a lot. So thank you so much, and all the best to you and your company. And I hope we catch each other in the future in some way. So we'll keep in contact. But thank you so much for your time.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your time and effort, Jacob. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Lead Generation Strategies for B2B Tech Companies. Don't forget to subscribe. You will find it where podcasts live. Discover how we can help you with your lead generation activities at brightvision.com.